Hey everybody, this is the third update in my Making My Own MFT series, and you'll see here that we have the base ready to go. So I think in the second update I had the legs on and the casters, but that was it. So I've got the stretchers on horizontally and on the other side, and just so you can see in here I did put some support underneath so that I can also drill into the torsion box top, which will be made out of this 3/4 inch plywood on the bottom of it, and then there's going to be this 3/4 inch MDF on top. And then the sides and the ends are these guys, and I'm pretty happy with how these turned out. So I was not so happy and thrilled in one of my shorts, but when I switched over to the router using an edge guide, it did work out a little better. Not absolutely perfect, but this is a piece of shop equipment to me, so I'm not too picky with that. I'd probably have just done it with a Forstner bit in every corner and then a jigsaw along a guide to get kind of probably slightly better results, but I wanted to use the router, so I did. So yeah, anyways, it's pretty good. Some of the corners, just a little funky, but I gave it a little 1/8 inch round over just so that any sort of like cords or any other times when I'm reaching into the torsion box, I don't get cut or slivers. And we do have these two cross members that will be going horizontally across just to give it more support on the top. And I do need to make sure that those fall in line between sets of holes, but pretty happy with that. And I think the size is going to be good. So it's going to typically come out of that part of the shop and come out to about there. And I think it's the right size. So I feel pretty good about my decision for that. And let's talk about a couple of accessories. So a couple that I love, and then one that I absolutely despise and I'm very disappointed in. But I was able to use my UJK Parf Guide System jig to drill this small 4x10 essentially MFT top. And the results are absolutely perfect. There's no wiggle room whenever I'm connecting any of my accessories on this. And you'll see also that I put these little chamfers on top using this reamer tool that I just put in my drill. It loosens up the hole just a tiny bit, but also puts that chamfer in. And you'll see here that a lot of these dogs have these little lips that then will sit down in that chamfer absolutely perfectly. So absolutely thrilled with this jig. I'll probably do a little bit more coverage on that in a month or two, just once I feel more comfortable with it and figuring out how to best showcase it on video, because it does take quite a long time. And I have over 200 holes to put into that table. So speaking of the holes that will be going into the table, I had kind of thought up a few different ideas. So first and foremost was just to put the entire grid and array of holes throughout the entire table, knowing that this MDF top is going to be replaced every year or two. So that was my original plan. But then when I put the track on, and you'll see here that I've got these UJK Super Dogs that are in there with these little things that attach to the track and absolutely no wiggle room. So this is an absolute perfect 90. Absolutely thrilled with this choice as far as being able to mount it on there. So you just put your material underneath and then you're good to go. But you'll see here that the edge falls directly on line a set of holes. So what I was thinking was to go more of kind of this route, where instead of doing holes everywhere, because I want to be able to do primarily cuts across this way, because I'll be dealing with a lot of smaller material, but also long cuts. So I had looked at a couple of these options, and I'm probably leaning towards this one right here, where I'm leaving essentially 2 holes wide all the way across, and then 2 holes wide and all the way across this way with not being filled. So it still gives me a lot of mounting points for any sort of clamping that I need to do, but it also gives me a lot of space to kind of move the track over a couple holes and still get a fresh cut. So I think that's going to be the way I go. I might even expand this to 3 holes. So yeah, I'm going to see, but pretty happy with that design right there. Again, might just make it slightly wider. So now let's take a bit of a different turn and talk about an accessory that I am very disappointed in. So I have been absolutely loving my OF1010 router from Festool. This is a killer router. It's essentially a slightly larger trim router. I got a couple of 8mm bits that are absolutely perfect in it. Really happy with that. What I'm not happy with is this edge guide. And you'll see here that it looks pretty basic, and it is. It's built well, like nice quality metal. The plastic is good. And I also bought this optional extension for fine adjust. And the knob's fine, like it fine adjusts just as you'd hope. And funny enough, this actually came with the rods. However, the kit itself came with a set of rods. So I don't know why they included another set. And these ones are actually identical to what came in the kit. Where I'm very disappointed is that these rods are far too short. So right now I have it basically as long as it can go, because you'll see at the back here, I've got this as tight as it can go. I've got these about as close as you want to get in order to be able to lock it down properly. And then at the front, you don't want to have the flat edge any farther back than that mounting point. Otherwise you get a little bit of wobble. And in doing this kind of at its shortest depth, or longest depth actually, you'll see here, let's see if we can get a measurement going one-handed with this. I can only get, let's do it this way, about 1 1/8 inches into the board. So I wanted to use this edge guide to kind of fine adjust, let's just like give this a sec, to fine adjust and route this 2-inch groove into this board, and it's nowhere close. So what's the purpose of this? So like the edge guide essentially gives me 1 1/8 inches, and that's it. And coming from the Bosch edge guide, which was really, really good, and I'll link above to a video in that, it's shockingly good for the price. This edge guide itself, $73 Canadian. The fine adjust, this little accessory on the end, $43. So I wasn't too shocked at the price given that it was Festool. I'm not really disappointed in the quality. I'm disappointed in the features of it. It's just not good. There's no dust collection port. I think that there's an optional accessory you can get for that as well, but then you're up to almost $200 Canadian for your edge guide system. So that is going to go back to Lee Valley. And I don't usually return items. I'm usually one of those folks that buy something and I do my research before, and then I find ways to make use of it, but so disappointed with this. So I'm probably going to look at the M-Power CBR CRB7 and see what kind of compatibility that has with the OF1010. And I think for about $130 Canadian, it's going to be such a more versatile and well-built system. But again, as much as I love my collection of Festool stuff, and the fine adjust that actually I got for the guide that goes onto the track right there is really good. So this is not just built really well, but it functions properly. So yeah, disappointed with that. I think that about does it for this third update. In the fourth update, I'll probably have most of the torsion box done and probably not all the holes drilled, but hopefully I'll kind of jump in and show you a little bit of that partway through. So thanks for watching, and I'll have more videos on the DIY MFT soon. Thanks.